Hey, welcome to the channel, everybody. This is Shaka from Shaka Reacts, and today we're going to be doing a music reaction and analysis video for a group that you guys recommended called Falling in Reverse, and their cover of Papa Roach's Last Resort. Super excited to check this out, everybody. Let's get into it.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. This is my last resort. Cut my life into pieces. Erase my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. Do you even care if I die bleeding? Would it be wrong or it be right if I took my life tonight? Chances are that I might. Mutilation out of sight, and I'm contemplating suicide. I'm contemplating suicide. 'Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me.
Wow, what an opening here. I love the way that this is written. That it's very, very exposed from a musical standpoint. I am honestly not super familiar with the original version of this by Papa Roach. I've never heard any Falling in Reverse, to be clear, guys. Also, this is a legitimate first time reaction. I've never heard this group. I've never heard this version of this song. So this is pretty new to me. But obviously the lyrics are very, very serious. They're very deep. And I appreciate how open this is from an instrumentation standpoint to start things off. It's just piano. It's a very simple piano part. And then kind of just chords supporting that piano part and the vocals from the strings there. Really well done. And I again also appreciate, so from a writing standpoint, from an orchestration standpoint, to have most of that stuff in terms of the string stuff in the lower registers is really well done. It provides some warmth and depth and keeps it from becoming overly bright and happy, versus if you had that playing up in the higher registers and really just kind of soaring. Let me backtrack just a hair, guys, so that we can kind of keep going into this transition. If you guys are looking for someone that's just going to sit here and make facial expressions, guys, this is not the place, just an FYI. We get into the music here. We really talk about it in depth. And really kind of check it out and try to learn things from it as we go through it. So just be aware of that, everybody. We are going to be getting pretty in-depth into the analysis here. All right, let's continue.
Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. I am fine. I never realized I was spread too thin till it was too late and I was empty within, feeding on chaos and living in sin. Downward spiral, where do I begin? It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love for another. To find a lover at a higher level, finding nothing but questions and devils. 'Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine.
Okay, before we, 'cause I know we're kind of stopping in the middle of the phrase, but I got to point something out here with this, guys. So we talked earlier about how well done that beginning was in terms of the instrumentation of it, the orchestration of the writing for the strings in particular. So as we got into that next section that we just did there, you can hear it's really subtle. It's really subtle, but it's so well done. It's just kind of this little foreshadowing, if you will, of what we just got into there. I want to make sure we don't miss that did happen. So the really subtle part that I'm referring to, guys, is they do have some of the violin stuff way up in the stratosphere. It's so insanely quiet that it's easy to miss. And if you're not listening on a really good pair of headphones or an amazing set of speakers and stuff like that, guys, you might miss it. But it is just incredible musical foreshadowing of what we're about to get into in this next bigger section of the music, where we start to fill out more of that orchestration. It becomes more dramatic and more intense. And there's just less of a introspective message happening at that point in the time. Just so that's great writing from them. We're going to start from here again so we can kind of hear that transition section, and again, listen for those high violins that come in later on in this before we get into that more impactful moment, guys.
Losing my mind, wish somebody would tell me I'm fine.
You can hear there's some overtones up high in that high register now.
I never realized I was spread too thin till it was too late and I was empty.
And notice they're gone now.
Feeding on chaos and living in sin. Downward spiral, where do I begin? It all started when I lost my mother. No love for my
Do you guys hear that? Do you hear that? Please tell me you hear that. If you don't, get the biggest stereo you can find, the best headset you can find, and listen right here, guys. You can hear some really high-end violin coming in here, and it is just an amazing foreshadowing of what's coming here.
chaos and living in sin. Downward spiral, where do I begin? It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love for another. To find a lover at a higher level, finding nothing but questions and devils. 'Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm very, very naturally drawn to the instrumental side of things, guys. Obviously, his lyrics are very, very deep, and we'll talk a little bit more about his singing here in a moment. He is absolutely killing it from a singing standpoint. I'm just naturally, personally drawn a lot to the instrumental side of things. That's more of my background. I've spent 10 plus years teaching strings, so I'm very, very drawn to the orchestral side of things. But one of the, again, beautiful things they did here, so we talked about at the beginning of the song, how the string section starts very much in its lower register, and it's just playing long sustained chords to give you kind of that harmonic structure that the piano and vocals kind of tell the story over top of. When we get into the middle section, where we start to have some more of this transition into the stronger part of the message, we start to have little tastes of that high violin part coming through. Now we're at the full-fledged moment where so they've switched the parts essentially, where now the piano, instead of playing these little light runs to complement the vocal message, we're now just getting full-fledged pounding chordal, sorry, I'm just like, rah. You're getting kind of this syncopated chordal section going on the piano, and I feel like that just really exacerbates the anger and the passion that you feel. We tend to kind of, associate ourselves with the piano part and the singing part here because that's what the artist is doing specifically. But then they pass this high-end stuff from the violins that used to be on the piano, from the piano over to the strings now, and the strings take over that, and it just adds this amazing complexity to what we're hearing here. It's just great writing across the board, guys. Here, from an orchestration standpoint, from a even from a vocal part, it's just amazingly well done. Let's go right about here. So again, you can hear it. Again, we've talked about how the piano part switches. The vocals switch too, obviously, through this section, guys. So you can hear the piano is not overly abundant here. It's still taking a little bit of a background to his vocals, but you can hear it's basically just, I almost imagine like a Grieg concerto, where it's just boom, cha, boom, cha, just banging the chords out as he's just belting it, the vocally speaking, over top of the from the arpeggios in the violin section here. It's just a great way to flip flop the message and the way that you're delivering that message. His vocals through here, guys. So obviously, the writing with the strings is amazing, and that really helps to deliver the message here and in the impact point. But let's be honest here, it's his vocals here, guys, that really hammer it home. He's just belting it through here, and he's got a little bit of that rasp to it as well that just really helps to kind of send this home with the piano part hammering in, and then the arpeggios. It's just so much good stuff. So much good stuff. I know we already listened to it twice, but I want to hear it again because it's really good. Sorry. Sprinkle in a major chord here or there too. Oh. Okay, I know you guys want to hear that. Hold on. I know. You're like, no, I gotta have it. No, I know. Hold on. We're gonna get there. Oh, so this is a prime lesson, guys, in how you write music so that you have your listeners go on an emotional roller coaster. God, it's so well done. So again, we talked about how you can flip the script from an orchestration standpoint to deliver a different type of message, even if the lyrics are still the same at this point. He does kind of the same idea here again, guys. So one of the big things he does, you hear the piano part has not changed that drastically from the big impact part that we talked about, where it's still chords being hammered, dun, dun, basically every half note. But it's subtle. It's much more subtle. It's taking much more of a back seat than it was before. The strings we talked about before at the beginning part, how they were taking a very much a back seat. They're just kind of filling in chords. They're very low in the register. The same thing happens here. They revert back to the original message. What's different, though, and I love what he does here, is that he puts more of an emphasis on the vocals and the voice and the human aspect of this section. So again, strings and piano are great at conveying moods and emotions, but nothing can convey that feeling of the vocalist as well as the voice itself. And by adding more voices in this counter melody section that we get here, on top of his more exposed vocals in this case, because everything is kind of taking a back seat to him, it's like taking a wound and opening it up for everyone to see. And I feel like that's kind of what he's doing right now. Like section 1 was just introducing his reservations. Section 2 was him really just kind of letting those reservations and frustrations be known. And then this section is the one where he's really like emotionally opening himself up and becoming very vulnerable. And it's just expressed so well with how he writes this. Really, really, really well done. Let's see. Should be right around here, I think. Yeah. I love the harmonies here too, by the way. Okay, I know I did it to you again. I'm sorry. But there's another thing I have to point out before we go to the resolution, guys. I'm sorry. Listen to how he uses, or not how he uses his voice, but the tone quality that he uses with his voice from point A of this section to point B. So in other words, from the beginning to the end. And he slowly changes the tone quality that he's using in his voice. I told you guys we were going to talk about his voice. I knew we were going to get a really amazing section to kind of dissect it and bring it down here. At the beginning of this section, he has this pure, clean, much more what we would consider a classical tone. He's very much in his head voice. It's a really clean, clear, very exposed, pure sound. Remember how we talked about how it's almost like he's opening up that wound, he's opening up his vulnerability to us here. It's very much the type of voice that he's singing with. But again, the further he goes into his message here, the slightly more raspy it becomes, the slightly more, I don't want to say gravelly, but I think you know what I mean by that, guys, though. It's just a little bit more aggression, I guess, as we kind of progress and get closer and closer and closer to this final statement that we're building up to. So again, all of these things layered on top of each other, including the way that he is morphing his voice quality, his tone quality, so well done. I promise we'll keep going this time. I promise. But listen to how his voice changes here, guys. It's so good. Going to change a little bit. A little bit of the grasp, and then pull. Ooh. Wow. There was this one little moment where I was oohing. They kind of use the strings. They do a tremolo section, and they're slowly sliding up in pitch as the building is being rebuilt. It almost creates this rewinding feel to it. If you've ever listened to like a tape rewind, it kind of gave me an audio feeling of tape being rewound when the strings were doing that tremolo. Really, really neat. I don't know whether that was intentional. I'm assuming it was, but I didn't really pick up on it again. So I'm not sure whether it was just more for an effect in that one moment, or if that's something that they wanted repeated. It was really, really neat, though. Very, very cool. Guys, I really enjoy this. Really, really cool take on this song. Like I said, I have heard at least the main melody of the original. I am not familiar with this group Falling in Reverse, though, but I really love the message and the way that they express that message in particular through his voice, obviously, and then, man, the instrumentation and the more importantly, the orchestration that they use to convey that, guys. Just absolute brilliance. Just absolute brilliance. Hopefully you guys liked today's video. If you did, I would appreciate if you guys liked, subscribed, and of course, turn on those notifications, guys, so you don't miss any of the other content that comes out after this. But last but not least, if you want to continue your journey down this music rabbit hole, guys, that it is, make sure you check out the next video.